inmate thinks I'm a new correction officer and that he can run all over me. I'm a corrections officer in a local jail and I've worked there for 14 years. We're pretty laid back for a jail, but it's still a jail. When an inmate asks for something and gets told no, the answer is no. Having spent the previous 10 years in retail, this is the dream. Also, when an inmate is told to do something, they are expected to do it. I should also mention here that my shift sergeant and I have been working together for about 8 years, and I've been there for 2 years longer than he has. I should also mention that my sergeant is very protective of his staff. The cast, me, Sarge is my shift sergeant, inmate is some 20-ish year old kid who thinks he can run over the new guy. Back in 2014, I had a bunch of vacation time built up, so my wife and I took a 2-week vacation to go to Cooperstown to see the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame and watch the induction ceremony. Being huge Atlanta Braves fans, we had a lot of fun watching Bobby Cox, Grady Maddux, and Tom Glavine get inducted. When I got back to work, I'm doing my rounds and an inmate approaches me. Now, I don't recognize this guy, so he must be someone who was arrested while I was on vacation. He immediately starts in on me like he owns the jail. Inmate: "Hey, I missed yard call because I was asleep. I need to go out to the yard now." Me: "Too bad. You should have woken up when we did yard call for your dorm. You just have to wait for the next one tomorrow." Inmate: "What do we do now? You're just a new guy. Get me your sergeant." Me, trying not to laugh and knowing Sarge will get a kick out of this: "Okay, wait right here." I point to the spot he's standing in, expecting him to be there, or at least close by when I get back. I finish my rounds and call Sarge on the radio. Me: "Hey Sarge, I got an inmate down here that says he needs to talk to you." Sarge: "Well, what does he want?" Me, trying to keep from laughing. He thinks I'm the new guy and can run over me because of it. Sarge: "I'll be right there." When Sarge arrives, we both got back into the dorm, and lo and behold, inmate isn't waiting where I told him to. Sarge: "Well, where is he?" Me: I don't know." Me yelling: "Hey inmate, Sarge is here to talk to you." Inmate, still acting like he owns the jail, walks out of his cell and approaches Sarge. "Hey Sarge, I missed yard call and the new guy here won't let me go out." Sarge: "So? If you missed yard call, that's your problem, not mine or his. Next time we call yard call, get your lazy butt out of bed." Inmate, interrupting Sarge: "But you don't understand." Sarge, interrupting inmate and getting louder: "No, you don't understand. When a member of staff gives you an answer, that is the answer. Furthermore, when an officer tells you to wait somewhere, you do it. You don't walk away." Inmate, trying to make excuses: "But Sarge, this new guy..." Sarge, interrupting inmate again, still pretty loud: "This is officer. You will refer to him as officer, not the new guy. Furthermore, officer here has been working in this jail since before they put the paint on the walls. So if he gives you an answer, that is definitely the answer. Now go lock down." Inmate, looking like he feels a foot tall: But... Sarge, "Go lock down." Inmate goes and locks down, and Sarge and I go to his office. We have a good laugh and Sarge wants inmate locked down for 3 days for disrespecting staff. But since we got a good laugh and a good story, I convinced him to just make it the rest of the day. I later go back and talk to inmate to give him his lockdown paperwork. Turns out he's not really a bad guy, just pretty dumb, and he apologized. Since he's become a regular, we still get a good laugh about that whenever he comes back to jail. I was the son's boss, had an entitled employee on my crew make a mistake. A little background: my father owns a telecommunication repair company, and before that he worked in the industry for years, and since I hated daycare, I spent every summer helping him and learning to weld, rig cell phone tower antennas, shit like that. By the time I was 19 and dropped out of college, I decided to go get my certifications and asked my dad for a job. Well, he got a huge contract and hired 5 brand new guys, with myself and another veterans that has been working for him for years as crew leads to run all the repair projects. I end up with this massive douchebag who got fired from multiple different physical therapy clinics and is now 40 and unhireable by any other industry. But he has massive superiority complex cause he has a bachelor's and that somehow makes him better than tradesmen. On to the story. Me, CL, the other crew lead, DB, douchebag. We are on the first site on the first day of a job for a major client, taking down old antennas and putting up new ones. Crew lead and I drive up to the site after morning meetings at the hotel with my dad and the client over Skype, and we've brought lunch for everyone. Crew lead realizes that he forgot his hard hat at the hotel and tells me he'll be back in half an hour. No big deal, it's a simple job that I've done before with my dad. I drop the sandwiches in the refrigerator server room and go over to douchebag, who is using a trailer hitch winch to haul a brand new antenna up the tower to our other guys who are 700 feet up at the top waiting to install it. He's got the antenna about 150 feet up at this point. Me, hey DB, I think you've got your fasteners on backwards. The fasteners have to be perfect because the higher the antenna gets, the more wind, the more tension on the winch. DB, they're fine. Me, no, they are definitely backwards. DB, they are fucking fine. Go the fuck away, bootlicker. Guess that was his derogatory for me being the boss's kid. Me, no, they are backwards, and by the time it gets up there, the winch is gonna slip and that antenna is gonna drop. Bring it back down and fix it. DB, I don't have to do shit for someone who is half my age and couldn't make it through a year of college. Only reason you're here is your daddy's kid and can't make it in the real world. Right as he finishes the sentence, I hear the winch crack, so I grab DB and run both of us into the service shelter, smashing all the sandwiches in the process while the winch flies out of the hitch mount and antenna drops like a rock onto the truck, carving straight through the cab and into the ground underneath. Me, fuck, so you can't rig right and don't have the common sense to put the pin in to secure the winch to the truck? DB, there's no way that is my fault. Me, not only is it your fault, but now I get to explain to both OSHA and our insurance how we managed to damage over 70k in equipment and 30k in our client's equipment in the first day on this job. I spent the rest of the day calling OSHA, my dad, our insurance, and my mother, our accountant, to make sure that all the right reports get filed and our asses are covered on all bases. I'm assuring the other crew guys their paychecks aren't going to be affected and that I will get them more sandwiches. After the end of day reports are finished, my dad calls me up and tells me to fire DB for negligence. So I go up to him. Me, hey, you're being let go. Sorry, but this incident is just something we can't afford to happen again. And since it was obviously DB, you can't fire me? CL, pretty sure he can fire you, and if you don't believe him, I will fire you. If you don't believe either of us, we can go see the boss tomorrow. DB, fuck it. Let's go talk to the boss right now. It's like 4 p.m. We drive 3 hours, interrupt my family's dinner, and then sit there smugly on the couch in my dad's home office while he literally screams at this guy about costing him 100k and maybe a lost contract, and basically tells the guy he is filing a civil suit for negligence since I specifically came and told him he was doing something incorrectly. DB, what the fuck does he know? He's just a kid. Dad, I taught him how to rig a winch when he was 8 and he did it right. When you're a 40-year-old man who manages to crush an entire truck, get the fuck out of my house. Lady thought I was breaking into her neighbor's house. Last summer, I was house sitting for a neighborhood lady I knew. I had to walk over there twice a day to feed her cat and let out her dog and just other general stuff. She was kind of a hoarder, so I didn't exactly hang out inside, just played with her dog in the back. On the 4th day, I'm getting her mail and her neighbor walks over and goes, "You know that's illegal." I was like, what? So she said, opening her mail, that's a crime. So is breaking into her house every day. I was mad at this point and an angsty teenager, so I said, shut up, I'm allowed to be here. Then I grabbed the mail, flipped her off, and walked inside. I watched out of the window as she went back to her house, so I did my job, fed the cat, and took the dog out in the back. That's when I hear the police car. Turns out that bitch called the police on me and told them I was breaking into her neighbor's house and she feared for her family's safety. I'm a scrawny white girl, not exactly FBI's most wanted. I went out in the front with the dog and Karen is pointing at me and screaming that I'm breaking the law. And the cop takes one look at me, is like, yeah, sure. He eventually got her to go to her house and get a water or something while he arrested me. I explained to him that I was house sitting, showed him my key, he believed me and told me to finish up and he would drive me home for my safety. The guy was chill, like late 20ish. So I put the dog up and locked the door and come back out to see Karen leaving her house. So I go down the driveway to the police car and she starts yelling at him again to arrest me. He has me get in the front seat of the car with the window rolled down while he tried to calm her down. He explains I'm house sitting and it's not illegal to bring in someone else's meal. All of a sudden she gasps and backs up and yells, "Oh my gosh, she's bribing you with sex. I'm calling the police." The cop looks completely shocked. So she dials 911 and starts yelling into the phone. Meanwhile, the cop goes around the back of the car and radios something in. About 5 minutes of her yelling, later another cop shows up and she walks over and talks to the other cop. Karen then runs over and starts yelling that I'm a prostitute and was going to kill her family. The girl cop ignored her and came over to my window and says, "Okay, I'm going to drive you home, sweetie. That's alright?" I said yeah, but Karen did not like that. She started yelling again, but the cop spun around and said, "Madam, I suggest you to stop. Making frivolous 911 calls is a misdemeanor and this girl has done nothing illegal." She then had me get in her car and she drove me home. I never see the Karen lady again.